Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the second edition of Ball Hogs. My name is Atayde, coming to you from inside the Digital 5 studios in Manila. To my left and to your right, you have Mr. Jinno Rufino coming to you from Los Angeles. And to my right, you have Mr. DJ Mo all the way from Las Vegas. We have a jam-packed show for each and every one of you. And thank you for joining us here today, as even somebody else has joined in through one of the doors. Welcome, everybody. We have a live studio audience today. Good morning, gentlemen. Let's head on into our triple threats. Oh, good evening on your end.
Good evening, yeah.
Let's start out with our first segment. It is your triple threat segment. And since I'm the one in Manila, I'm the one in the studio, I will go first. I would like to talk about the quote-unquote star player of the second best team in the Eastern Conference, talking about DeMar DeRozan. This guy has the second highest salary in all of the NBA as of right now. He has two All-Stars to his name, but does that make him a superstar? I say no. It's just not going to happen. I am a...
Well, it depends on what you define a superstar as.
Yes.
Like, I define superstar top 5 player in the NBA. If you're not in the top 5, you're not a superstar. So
Exactly
what's your
my
definition of superstar?
My definition of a superstar is somebody that is actually pretty much beyond just a top 5 on the floor. First of all, this guy doesn't even have his own shoe. I mean, you can't be a superstar in the NBA if you don't have your own shoe. I mean, Terrence Romeo has his own shoe in the Philippines, and that makes him a superstar. But DeMar DeRozan...
I bet you DeMar DeRozan can ball his ass out any given day left-handed. So the comparison between him and Terrence Romeo are... not a strong statement there.
I saved that one just for you, Mo, because I knew you had to come back for that one. No, but he is number 5 in the league in scoring. He is on the second best team in the Eastern Conference, but he is just not a top 5. Not even for me. I don't even think a top 10 player in the NBA right now. There are people saying that he should be and could be the next Kobe Bryant. That one goes out to this man over here, Mr. Jinno Rufino. That's not going to happen.
I never said that.
No. I was reading an article. I think it was on SI.com that DeMar DeRozan.
Then you should write that writer and say that you call him crazy, because then it's just not. That's just ridiculous.
So it's just not going to happen. Most of all, and when I'm talking about the off-court stuff, he doesn't have the personality. I mean, he's not as funny, or the charisma is not there. Doesn't have his own shoe. And I honestly believe that this is mainly because of the fact that despite being on the number 1 offensive team in the league, in the Toronto Raptors, he's just not sexy. And I say this because of a conversation I had with DJ Mo in Macau.
Yeah. I did. Oh, okay.
In
what did I
Macau,
say?
we had a conversation about how Shawn Marion is not a superstar, despite being a top 3 pick in the fantasy drafts each and every year for like 3 years straight. And Mo said that no matter what you do, Shawn Marion is not sexy, and that's why he's not a superstar.
Hey, he's got a sexy game. I think even DeMar DeRozan had a sexy game when he first started out. He's very much a dunker. But I think what appeals to sexy now in the modern NBA is that he doesn't shoot three-pointers.
Yes.
And if you don't shoot three-pointers, it can be very difficult from the guard position to have a large following. I don't know, Aaron, though, if at any point you will blame that he comes from Toronto as a reason. Do you think that that's maybe a case? I don't believe so, but I have heard this argument that DeMar DeRozan can't be marketed as a big star. I don't want to say superstar because you know my standards, but a big star because he comes from Canada, which, again, I don't know if it's necessarily true or not, because Vince Carter came from Toronto, and he was very much superstar status. And that Toronto, in fact, also is the 5th largest city in North America if you include all the American cities. So if there was going to be an argument about him being in a small market, that would not play very well as well. So, I mean, there are also small market superstars. Russell Westbrook is a superstar. He plays in Oklahoma City. So I think what goes against DeRozan here is that he has an old school game, which is what? The ability to hit the elbow jumper, mid-range jumper. He doesn't do anything else outside of scoring particularly well. He doesn't really defend well, doesn't rebound the ball, doesn't really, pass the ball. So it's just a scoring thing, which in the modern NBA is not particularly marketable. You got to hit mega threes or still have his dunking back, which it's kind of taken a back seat already.
I think Mo, Vince Carter was a superstar when he was at Toronto Raptors. But the thing is, I look at all the highlights that take place or that they show in the NBA, and a lot of it features DeMar DeRozan. I'm not calling him a superstar. I think he's a great player. I think he's a good player, and I think that he's one of those players that is important to his team, but maybe not necessarily the NBA. It's because you're right. A little bit of the game, a little bit of it is because he doesn't have that the outside shot like a lot of the other guards or the swingmen in the NBA do right now. But he still is very effective. He may not be a transcendent type player, but he is still a very, very good player, borderline superstar, in my opinion. Not exactly a household name, perhaps, but somebody that I wouldn't mind having on my team.
Last
yeah,
question.
But that's not the argument. The argument is like, well, we'd all want him on our team. I think any team would want to have him on. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want a guy who can score 28 points and shoot with, pretty good efficiency, go to the line 9 times per game and shoot at, in the mid 80s. So that's a great player to have on your team. But I think Aaron's argument is, how come he's not a superstar? Yeah. I think he's not a superstar because he's not modern sexy. He's old school, mid-range jump shot. And I think until the Raptors show that they can go really deep into the playoffs, which they haven't recently, he's just going to be stuck in this limbo of, is he a superstar or is he a regular star?
Thank you for pointing.
They made the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, they're never going to make the finals.
They made it one year, but they have struggled, even though they are a very good regular season team, and that's because they play a very isolated, guard-heavy style of game, which in the regular season does well because you're playing against the entire league. When the elite teams are you're lined up against in a 7 game, they know how to adjust to that style of game, and guess what? You lock down Lowry, you lock down DeRozan, no one else on that team is going to kill you. Jonas is doing very well this year, but they clearly need another player there if they want to contend for that title.
Thank you for making it. Thank you for making it very clear, Mo, that DeMar DeRozan is a Rip Hamilton that can dunk. Let's move on over to our second.
Used to be able to dunk.
Let's move on over to our second triple threat. Mo Twister, you got it.
Oh, it's me? Okay, I thought it was Gino. All right, yeah. So, listen, we're talking about elite teams and high-powered offenses. Really, no team better than the Golden State Warriors. Last year, we saw them with the best regular season record. But you know what? They're even better this year. The record might not show it, but the stats show it. I want to ask you guys, if you were a coach, what would be the game plan for you to beat Golden State? Now, if you were a coach of a playoff team, a threat to Golden State, not if you were the coach of the Nets. If you were a coach of the Spurs, the Clippers, one of the higher upper echelon teams, how do you beat the Golden State Warriors in a playoff series? Because I think that's what coaches have to think about right now.
It depends on what material you have. I mean, if you're like, let's say maybe the San Antonio Spurs, the LA Clippers, you got to go with your one advantage that you have against the Warriors, and that is definitely the size. You're not going to be able to outgun them, and it doesn't matter if you throw in the Houston Rockets together with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You don't have enough material to go head to head with these guys if you're not going to play defense. So you got to go with your strength. You got to go. If you're the Spurs, you got to beat them down low. You got to try and beat them up a little bit. They've shown that they are susceptible to teams with good bigs, especially teams like the San Antonio Spurs, the Clippers. Memphis has shown that they can actually put some hurt on when they have the bigs playing together and exposing the donut team that is the Golden State Warriors. But you know what?
So are you saying when the Warriors go small, they go to their death lineup, right, which is a small ball lineup that they've mastered, that if you are the opposing coach, you'd still keep it big? Because you want to bully your way through this?
I really think you have to. If you go small against the Warriors, you're playing right into their hands because that's what they want you to do. But the thing is, you don't have the same material they have. You don't have the same players that are as skilled as they have. So if you're going to go smaller and try to match their speed, their athleticism, and the way they're able to play with that death lineup, you are going to die. If you are,
I agree with you that I think if you play big, you stand a better chance than playing small.
Yes.
The problem, though, with playing big is that they have 4 guys who can hit the three ball.
Yes.
Now, Draymond, is not as given. He'll be in the 30 percentile range. But those three boys are bad boys, man. Curry, Clay, and Durant.
Yeah.
So if you play big, they are going to shoot the lights out from perimeter. How do you defend that with a bigger lineup?
See, you can't. You pray really hard.
No,
so that at least two of them are gonna have a night off. But
no,
you cannot match up with them with the same size because it's just not gonna work.
And that's why I will have to go to a position that maybe not that many people are giving a lot of notice to. It might not be the bigs that would be the main factor. I think it would be the small forward position. I mean, look at the teams that they had problems with. They had problems with Oklahoma City. That's where they were down 3-1. And it was because of Kevin Durant that was playing the three. They had a problem with San Antonio.
No. They struggled because they couldn't rebound.
Yeah.
And they couldn't rebound because they were outside.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's that small forward position that can go against the twos, the threes, and the fours. That's why LeBron was the way that he was, aside from the fact that he's LeBron James. But if you look at it and they have, maybe Portland at 8 or Utah, that's not going to be a problem for them. When they get into the semifinals, they'll play against Houston. If they play against Houston, they will kill Houston because there is no one at that position. But when they...
I don't know. I don't know about kill.
Well,
Houston.
Trevor
I think
Trevor Ariza is going to be the one that will have to stop someone like Kevin Durant. That's not going to happen. I mean, it's going to have to come down to Kawhi that will, try and stop Kawhi in the West, that will try and stop Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but the thing I think maybe the Spurs, if you want to bring them up, they need to defend them. They need to beat them up a little bit. They need to
slow
beat them
down the game.
bench. But how do you do that? Your point guard is aged. How are you going to keep up with a guy like Steph Curry? I think there are 117 points per game that we're seeing right now, which is historically good. We have not seen this kind of offensive production in 33 years since the 84 Nuggets. You just kind of have to hope that they miss a couple shots. You want to keep them down into the 105 scoring range. All of their losses this season, except for the overtime Rockets loss, Warriors scored 100 or less. So that means either they didn't shoot really well, or it was one of those nights, or you just kind of have to bully your way into keeping the shooting numbers low. 105 range is a good range for a playoff team. If you can keep the Warriors down to that, that mark over there for the offensive output, then you have a good shot at maybe winning a game or two, but a series.
One team that I would actually
you may
like
not be able to win the series, but it's impossible for them, for all of the Warriors, to be on fire for all of the games, right? They're gonna have some games when they're not gonna be as hot, and maybe Durant's not gonna be playing as well. Maybe Klay Thompson will have one of his off nights. Maybe Steph will not be able to hit from downtown, which he hasn't hit a three in one game so far this regular season. So in a series, I can see them maybe dropping maybe one or two games against elite teams.
But they'd be beatable. They'd be beatable in close games, and that's the thing. So if not all of the guys are firing, right? If you can just kind of get out to some kind of lead, you stand a better chance. When it's a closer game, though, this is where we've seen this season at least Draymond Green take over on the defensive end, make big blocks on the other team's best scoring option late in the fourth. And I think it has him as front runner for Defensive Player of the Year already this year because he has been so instrumental on the defensive end in close games. So if you really want to, I think, stand a chance to beat the Warriors, you got to come out to bigger leads and you got to put them away early because they can shoot their way back into a ball game or shoot you out of one. Dang. So it's keeping it to that 105-point scoring range. I think that's really the big key.
All right, let's move on over to our third triple threat topic for today, and it is courtesy of Jinno Rufino.
All right, it is my turn to talk about a topic that I wanted to bring up actually even in our first episode, but I saved it now for this one. Before the start of the regular season, a lot of people, including myself, I wanna put myself out there as well, thought that the Minnesota Timberwolves would be a pretty good team this year. In fact, some people actually thought that the Wolves would be fighting for a playoff spot. Now, you have Karl Anthony Towns, who was a stud in his rookie year. We have Wiggins, who has shown that he has potential to be a star in this league. I don't know about superstar, but maybe a star in the league. You have Zach LaVine, who, well, we all know how he can fly in the air and win slam dunk competitions, but he has shown that he is getting better as a well-rounded NBA player. And you have, of course, the backcourt duo of a Ricky Rubio and a Chris Dunn. But the main reason why so many people were excited about the Timberwolves heading into this season it's not because of any of those players that I just mentioned. It's because of the coach and president of basketball operations in Coach Tom Thibodeau. Yes, a lot of us thought with Thibodeau there guiding the young Wolves, they would be one of the threats in the Western Conference in terms of making the postseason. Now, in 25 games so far in the regular season, the Wolves are currently 7-18. They are 14th in the Western Conference. They are 18th in offense. They are 22nd among 30 teams on defense. This time last year, through 25 games, they were actually better at 9-16. So. The reason why a lot of us were excited about the Wolves heading into the regular season, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, Coach Thibodeau is not the right coach for the Wolves.
Well,
I just think that his hard-nosed style defense, I think just the way he is as a guy who's always on his team, on his players and just focusing so much. He's kind of like an old school coach. And you look at the team, a lot of them are extremely young. They're kind of
they're a millennial team.
Yeah, they're a millennial team, right?
Well, and that's what it is. That's what it is. Let's really break it down here, okay? We had a long intro about the Wolves struggling. We get it. They suck. And, what you said, a lot of people thought they were going to do well. On numerous shows, I said from the beginning of the year that they're going to be a lottery team. And that's because when you look at a piece of paper, and then, like you said, the new shiny coach and president of basketball operations, people thought, okay, they're going to be a 45-win team maybe, right? They won 29 last year. It is really rare to improve by 16 wins when you have a team that's very young.
Yes.
So I didn't think they were going to be this bad, but I thought, lottery bound likely for, next. And then maybe in a year or two, we're going to finally see the Wolves that we're hoping to see. Now, is Tibbs the wrong coach for this team? No. He needs to make adjustments, though, I think, if he wants his message sent to this team, which is can't be so tough. Like, we see Tibbs on the sidelines in past years, very tough, very loud, very demonstrative. I don't think that really registers well to young players.
Yeah.
And I think what he needs to do is certainly soften up a little bit. Defense will eventually, the repetitiveness of Thibodeau's style, which is very much his style, practice hard, grind them hard, teach it. In time, they'll be better, as all young teams will be within the season. I mean, they'll be fine. They'll be better. They'll be much better in the second half.
See, the thing that I would like to point out here is that Minnesota is not built to win right now. I agree with the both of you that they're not supposed to win right now, mainly because of the fact that they have this 22nd best salary cap right now. They have one of the lowest salaries that they have, including an $8 million contract that's supposed to go to Kevin Garnett.
I completely disagree. The Warriors had they didn't have a fat. Well, I mean, what do you call this?
Your salary cap. Well, they do have have
room, contracts and stuff like that.
They have room to make moves in the future. They're supposed to be learning. The one thing that I do have a problem with, and this is mainly because of the fact that I hate him for what he's doing to my fantasy team, is Karl Anthony Towns. He's lowest. This has been a decline in field goal percentage, in a free throw percentage, in three-pointer percentage, in points made, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, turnovers. He's been having a horrible year. This guy was supposed to be a top 5 pick. He was picked as the one that was.
You're just
horrible year.
Well, no. Okay.
What are you talking about?
He's not
horrible year.
He was supposed to be a top 5 player this year. He was supposed to be a top 5 player.
Who said he was going to be a top 5?
Who's he going to knock off from the top 5 status?
Okay.
Their top 5: Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. Who's he going to knock? LeBron James. Who's he going to knock out on those 5 boys?
Remember that poll that teams were supposed to start their franchise with him? Would you still be the one?
Yeah, but that was a different question.
Okay, would you still start your franchise with him?
Here's the problem with Karl Anthony Towns this year: 4 attempts from the free throw line, 4 attempts from the 3-point line. That's the problem. You have a guy just the other day when they won against the Bulls in a 21-point comeback, largest comeback of the year, 1 from 8 from downtown, 3 or 4 from the line. He shot 2 times more 3-pointers than he did from the free throw. And we're talking about a guy with elite big man skills, footwork, top shelf. He's just trying, I think, to be what he sees Wiggins and Levine are, which is guys that shoot from the distance, that can slash their way through the basket. We see Karl-Anthony Towns use a lot of energy to get to the hoop when he shouldn't. He's using a lot of time shooting three-pointers when he shouldn't. He should be down there, down low, because those boys take care of that. Wiggins, Levine, they take care of the perimeter game. Now, every now and then, Towns should look for a three-pointer if they're giving it to him, but there's no effing way that he should be shooting 8 from downtown the other day against the Bulls and only 4 from the free throw line. That's the problem with Karl-Anthony Towns. Everything else is not an issue. The numbers are not horrible. He's actually improved in certain aspects of his game, stats-wise, as Zach LaVine has. Zach LaVine went from, 10 points to 14 points to now 20 points this year. They are improving statistically. They're just not defending very well because they're very young and they're making poor young man decisions, which Coach Tibbs, in time, will be able to fix that and remedy this in a short amount of time.
Yes.
Not 2 years, 3 years.
I agree.
In a year, maybe less than a year.
But if you watch them play, you watch their body language. Not everybody. Last year you saw the team and they looked like they were enjoying themselves. Now they don't look like they're enjoying themselves so much. Part of that is because they're losing.
Yes.
But a lot of that is also because Coach Tibbs, as much as I respect this guy, as much as I think that what he did for the Chicago Bulls and the Boston Celtics when the Boston Celtics made the run as he was the assistant coach to Doc Rivers, I just don't think, like what we mentioned a couple minutes ago, is that he just does not fit a team that is this young. They don't have a KG in there anymore. They don't have a KG in there to tell them that, hey, listen to Coach Tibbs. He knows what he's doing. He's
so
gone.
What do you want? You want them to pull the plug? You want him fire? You want to fire himself? Like, what would be the solution? What you're saying, Gino, is partly correct, which is he's the wrong coach right now, meaning today. Now, tomorrow, if he just says, you know what, I need to appeal to the younger team. I need to maybe be less tough on them.
Mo, he is not.
No, he will. Listen, he is changing. If you kind of follow the team, you will see he's changing a little bit more. They're historically bad in the third quarter this season. Historically, meaning if you go back into the NBA record books, they're bad in the third quarter. These are little basketball things that they need to change. The personality side, I think that Tibbs just has to soften up a little bit, which I think he will. He's the president and the coach. He is the top dog of this. He wants his team to succeed, and they have the talent to succeed in a few years, maybe even 1 year, right?
Yeah.
He will know that he has to adjust to that because they have to adjust to it. And, of course, trade Ricky Rubio and his 36% from the field shooting.
Yeah,
which is,
that was another thing I was going to say. They got to get Rubio out of there.
That's a great way.
It's a shooter's league. He's got to go.
Let's move on to our fourth and final topic to start out the show, and it is, of course, the topic that we dedicate every single time to your Gilas Pilipinas, and we are going to be talking about the naturalized player position of Gilas. Should it still be Andray Blatche? I mean, we have used him a couple times in the 2016 FIBA Olympic qualifying tournaments, where he averaged 25.5, 7.5, 1 rebound, 1.5 steals, 51.5 shooting. We also used him during the 2014 FIBA World Cup tournament, 21.2, 13.8, 0.8 rebounds, 1.6, 44.2. Question is, do we keep him and bring him back, or do we start looking for the next face as a naturalized player? Gino, your thoughts?
Well, you know what? That's a hard question. I mean, first of all, we've lost, some of the guys who have made Gilas Pilipinas what they are. They've succeeded worldwide in terms of how they brought attention. They brought they put the Philippines back on the map when it comes to basketball and in the global stage. We lost Jimmy Alapag. We lost Jason Castro. We lost Ranidel de Ocampo. When you lose guys like that, guys who have contributed so much for this team, maybe, just maybe, it is time to look for a different naturalized player and not bring back Andray Blatche. Now, having said that, who is it going to be? We don't know. We haven't really heard anything as far as who the SBP is going to be choosing. We don't even know who they're scouting to replace him. Because of that, maybe you should think about keeping him there just for the transition period, because you still need you still need that position. He's still an important piece of the puzzle. But does he want to be back? We don't know. So we don't know much about what's going on in the head of Andray Blatche. The last thing I heard was after the Olympic qualifiers, which unfortunately we did not qualify for the Olympics, where he put on a show, especially in that last game against France. He put everything he had on that game, and when he walked off the court, it looked like he had nothing left. And I think the reason why he did that, at least what I was told, is because he wanted a spot on an NBA team.
Yes.
So having said that, it doesn't seem like Gilas is in his thought process at the moment, because he wanted to showcase what he can do against NBA talent in Team France and show that, hey, I still have something in me. I saw the kind of contracts that Mozgov got, that Luol Deng got. I saw the contracts of these guys, and I want another shot at the NBA. So I honestly think
but
as
what
much
Blatche
as we
wants to
need
do,
it,
I think what Blatche wants. Sorry, what Blatche wants to do is irrelevant to the question of what should the SPB do, which is originally, I think, naturalize a pool of players just in case Blatche gets uninspired or injured or old, or just ineffective or fat. I don't know, whatever. If he goes down and you need to swap him out.
It's all of the above.
Right. You need a pool of players, naturalized players to choose from, so someone can jump right in. Who do you have outside of Andray Blatche? Today's version of Andray Blatche? What is it, Marcos Dohit or something like that? And then clearly Blatche is better, but that's because those are the choices you're left with.
Yes.
There was the whole JaVale McGee talk from some years back, but again, when talking to the SPB, they realized, that was a little bit further out than I think most people thought it was going to be. So it has to be a center. You got to get a young center out there. This is a young man's game. If Blatche doesn't materialize, get another young center who can be the starter with Junmar coming off the bench as he has been, even though he's an MVP type of player. It's a young man's game. They need size. They go out and get themselves another center. Right now, though, I don't know if that's possible because naturalization is a long process. I don't know how you have to fast track this or whatever, that's what they need to do.
I do believe they have a Mo Tautawa as a backup right now.
Yeah, because
he was he was the guy that in case of injury, in case of anything happened to Dre, he was the guy who was going to replace him.
See,
when it came to
the problem that would be with if it's Mo Tautawa is that it doesn't solve anything. I mean, a Band-Aid,
it doesn't at all.
A Band-Aid here and there will not do anything.
It's not even a Band-Aid, dude. It doesn't solve anything. I mean, he's just too small to be able to be the naturalized player of the Philippines. It's just not going to get it done.
I think that we should.
No disrespect to him.
No disrespect to Mo Tautawa at all.
Player.
And he's a fantastic gel guy as well for the team. I mean, he brings a lot of humor and he's good for the locker room. But I do think that it is time that we move on from Andray Blatche. I mean, it was the same way that
I do think so too.
That it felt kind of bad when we moved on from Marcus Douthit. I mean, because Kuya Marcus was such a big part of the team. I think it's time to move past Andray Blatche. And I think it's also time that we start looking. I agree with Mo. There should already start being a succession of naturalized players so that we already have them here in the same way that we have a succession of the Gilas pool. I think that the naturalized player should be the same way. Have them all come up together and maybe we'll be able to make it into that Olympics very, very soon. So ladies and gentlemen, that is your triple threat for right now. We're going to cut to a break. When we return, we got your round of one-on-one. Don't go anywhere, Ball Hogs. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Ball Hogs. Aaron Atayde, Jinno Rufino, Mo Twister here for you guys. It's now time for our second segment of the show, where it is your opportunity to go one-on-one with us. And sometimes it's also an opportunity for us to go one-on-one with somebody that we would never have a chance of winning. And we start out with our first debate topic, and it is courtesy of four-time PBA champion, two-time PBA Finals MVP, and two-time PBA MVP, the one and only Willie Miller joining us, the Thriller.
Willie!
Good morning, brothers. Good morning.
Jesus, look at the credentials. So much better than
you, brother Mo.
So much better than us we can ever do, like you said on the court, man.
I thought you were going to say so much better than Jai Reyes.
Oh, that too. That also.
Love you, Jai. Sorry.
But I wanted to set it up as, Willie, you're great on the court. You're going to get crushed here, buddy. So let's hear it.
I know.
What's your statement?
Anything.
What's your debate statement, Papi?
No, I'm going to ask, if you're a team manager, who would you choose? What kind of player would you choose? between Kevin Durant, si Westbrook, or si James Harden.
So really, basically, the former Thunder teammates that are all now, for the first time separately. Yeah, they're all superstars now on their own team. Which one would we choose if we were building our own squad? Well, who are you choosing, Willie? It's based. This whole segment is based on what you get.
I'll take the point guard. I'll take
Which one?
Westbrook.
Okay. Before we get to any of the arguments, let's see who agrees and who disagrees. I would take Russell Westbrook also because Brody is my bro.
I would take Westbrook last in that for the three options, and I would go with Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is by far the smartest choice for this question.
Jinno.
It's an easy choice for me. It's definitely KD. I mean, if you were gonna choose one of those three to keep, I would take KD, and then maybe Russ next, maybe Harden. I mean, it's almost a toss up between those two guys.
So
but
Willie,
definitely KD.
I agree with you. You get to pick. Who do you want to debate, Mo Twister or Jinno Rufino?
Okay. I think it's hard to debate Mo because.
so you'll debate Jinno na lang.
Yeah, no, take Jinno because Willie and I debate on another podcast all the time.
I don't care if I lose. I don't care. I'll take both.
Oh, you'll take Mo.
Take Jinno.
Take Jinno.
He said both. Yeah,
okay,
take Jinno.
Let's take Jinno.
Okay,
Willie, your opening statements for your argument. Go.
Okay. Why would you pick si Kevin Durant against Westbrook when right now I think Westbrook is playing better than Kevin Durant.
Why? Why would you?
Just because si Westbrook wala siya masyadong kakampi na superstar sa team niya versus Kevin Durant yung sa team nila is super high powered. Na wala siyang ginagawa kundi taga-tira lang.
All right. So, Mr. Jinno Rufino.
All right. Well, you know what? I completely understand in the sense that that Russell Westbrook is having a phenomenal year. He might, and I want him to average a triple-double for the entire regular season. But I really do think that the superior talent is still Kevin Durant. Why? Because he's won the MVP already. He's shown that he is the MVP shows that you're the best player of the league, and he's shown that he can do that. You look at him with the Golden State Warriors, a team with multiple superstars, like what Willie Miller just said. But the thing is, Kevin Durant doesn't just shoot the ball. He does so many other things for the Warriors as well. He passes the ball, he rebounds the ball, he actually plays a lot of defense as well. I don't remember another time when I've seen Kevin Durant be the last line of defense and actually get block shots against people trying to attack the lane. I could be wrong, but I think he's blocking more shots than the centers of the Warriors, not named Draymond Green. We all know Draymond Green does play center every so often. But the fact that Kevin Durant is, in my opinion, the second best player in the NBA, second only to LeBron James, I think you got to start there. You got to start there with KD. As great as Russell Westbrook is, even James Harden, the numbers of those two guys don't lie. They definitely show that they are among the elite players in not just in the NBA but in the world. But I think Kevin Durant is just that much better.
Just as a correction, Kevin Durant does block more shots than Draymond Green, and it's kind of considerable. In fact, maybe I think a whole block more.
All right.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
So you just
strengthening your case. Yeah.
You just made my argument even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just throw in a point there for Willie. They did pick Durant to run a team, and how did that go? Oh yeah, they had a 3-1 lead and blew it also. So would that be
wait a minute, we're not supposed to be debating here, but if you want to do that, I'll come right at you, brother. You want me? Is this tag team?
No,
I can go tag team.
I'm just saying.
You want to go help Willie? I'll help Jinno here, and with this on.
So that being said, Mr. Mo Twister, your votes. Who wins this round?
I'm gonna pick Jinno. Partly because that's my answer as well. And maybe he had more points than Willie did. Like Willie said that Kevin Durant was taga-tira lang, which of course clearly isn't the case. He has an incredible all-around game.
One thing right now with Kevin Durant, I think, brother, because he's new with the team. When you're new with the team, you can do everything at first. You're gonna show off, of course. Pero once
Yeah, but Willie, you want to win ball games, and if you want to win in this modern NBA, I always say modern NBA because the culture changes all the time. You have to have more than one star, and if you have a ball-hungry ball hog, as this show is named after, Russell Westbrook, you're not going to win. You can't win without another high-caliber player on your team. You're going to get beat by all of these other super teams, quote unquote. Kevin Durant has shown that he can seamlessly find himself in a team that has multiple stars and still be an elite player, which is what we're seeing right now. Kevin Durant's going to be first team All NBA, and he's doing it with other All NBA talent. So Russell Westbrook won't be able to do that because he's ball hogger like the show.
Yeah.
James Harden, that's going to also be a problem for James. And remember, when Russell Westbrook went down, Kevin Durant still took that team to the playoffs. When Kevin Durant went down, Russell Westbrook could not take that team to the playoffs. Now they're there right now because of course he's playing out, otherworldly. But if you're starting a franchise, which is what the question is,
it did turn
when you're
into
starting
a
a
tag
franchise.
team.
You have to have a guy that can play with other stars.
I
Russell
started this. I
Westbrook
started this.
cannot play with other stars. Kevin Durant can play with the
All right,
MVP
okay, wait,
and still be All NBA.
Wait a minute. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, okay. This turned into
Mo just completely, Mo just repeated basically what I said.
exactly.
but
This turned
with
into a
much more passion.
It's turned into like a bar brawl. I mean,
He
this
called
was
me out.
Malice at the Palace.
No, in fact, it was you, Aaron. You put in your statement, and I had to back it up.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Willie. Willie, love you, man.
Thanks for dropping
love
by,
Willie.
yeah.
Willie,
You're the best,
I
brother.
love you. You've always been my idol. But I'm sorry.
And
you're
I'm
wrong,
listen,
buddy.
Willie. I'm surprised, Willie. I'm surprised you didn't pick James Harden because he's very much like you,
Yeah.
a herky-jerky left-handed scorer that plays no defense. That's exactly who you are, and I can't believe you didn't go with James Harden.
Like me.
That's all I'm saying. Why didn't you go with James? He's left-handed. He's just like you. No defense, all offense.
I respect his skills, but he don't have a heart for defense. That's different right there.
Thanks, Willie.
It's like looking in the mirror, huh? Just grow a beard. All of a sudden, it's the same guy.
Why are you trying to hurt? Why are you trying to hurt me now, Mo? Why are you like that?
I'm just kidding, Willie.
I love you,
man.
Willie. You have a great one. Okay.
Hi guys. Enjoy.
Our love to the family, brother. Thanks, man.
All right, Willie.
Thank you, bye.
All right, next caller.
All right, let's move on into our second caller for today on our one-on-one, and it is Jake Gozon. Jake, are you there?
Yes, Aaron.
Hey, Jake, how you doing? What is your debate? Your statement for our one-on-one today?
Yeah, sure. So the Cubs shockingly lose tonight to a throwaway game to the Memphis as LeBron James, Irvin, and Lover decided to sitting off tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So my basketball topic to debate is NBA teams should stop sitting out their stars because these guys get paid to play 82 games. And I hate all this teams sitting out their stars.
All right.
Because it's bad.
So before you head on into your argument, let's see who agrees and who disagrees with you, Mo. Do you agree
I'm
with
torn.
teams?
I'm torn. This is the first time I think. Well, I'm sure it'll happen more often as the season goes along on the show. But I'm torn, man. I don't know. I don't know if I disagree or agree. I think I'm with our caller though.
Okay.
If you put a gun in my head, I'll disagree. I want players to play 82 games.
Okay.
So I'm with him.
I agree with rest. Gino?
I mean, I understand why they rest the players. I mean, it's.
Do you agree, though?
I don't agree with it. I don't agree in the sense that I don't like it. But I mean, it's
Yeah, that's
something
where I'm at.
there.
Yeah. So,
You know,
but-
they do it, and I understand why they do it. But at the same time, I don't like it. But that's just it's the reality of things.
okay. So I guess Jake, you get to pick between me and Jinno Rufino. Who do you want to debate for a Gilas shirt?
I would go for Rufina.
Oh, you'll go and take on Jinno Rufino.
Sorry, what? Me?
Yes.
You want to debate me?
He wants to debate you.
Wow, I'm getting everything today. What
I
did I
know.
do?
Well, last week it was all Mo. Nobody has debated with me yet. You were just like, go.
All right, Jake, go
Jake,
ahead.
you get to go ahead. Why do you not like the fact that teams rest their players?
Okay. My first point is you're playing basketball for a living, right? So I understand if you're working in a construction site that you maybe need the rest. You maybe need a rest day, but you're playing basketball. The joy that comes with competing in basketball. It's fun to play. And I mean, who the fuck gets rest days in the beginning of the season, right? Resting players sucks for fans who purchase tickets in advance to see stars like LeBron James.
Okay. Anything else, Jake?
Jake,
I think it's
Uh,
good. Yeah, yeah.
that's
Yeah,
all.
Okay.
let's
All
hear
right,
Gino,
Gino.
your part.
Gino, your turn.
Well, I mean, we were talking about this before we started recording the show. I mean, the NBA teams have been resting players for years, and I'm talking about decades. But they hid behind things like, oh, I have a sprained ankle. Oh, I have the flu. Oh, I'm a little bit sick. They just never called it rest. The problem I have with the rest is when they sit out multiple superstars in one go. But the NBA has done something about that. Mo, we looked it up online, and Greg Popovich was fined what $250,000, or the Spurs?
Yeah,
were
he was fined
$250,000
$250,000 for sitting
For-
out
for
players,
rest-
which
for sitting out.
Okay.
right, which is like a nationally televised game or
Yeah.
something. It was a big deal.
Okay. Go,
Yeah,
Gino.
so it was a big deal. They sat out. I think it was Duncan, it was Manu and Tony Parker, if I'm not mistaken. But so the NBA can do something about it, but I don't think it's gonna change the fact that NBA teams are gonna do this over and over and over again, because the big picture is the NBA title, especially if you are the Cleveland Cavaliers and there is nobody in the Eastern Conference that can stop you except for injuries. If one of their stars get injured, especially if it's LeBron James, then their campaign for a back-to-back is going to be in jeopardy. But they're trying to manage minutes. They're trying to manage so that they can be healthy when they enter the playoffs and be at full strength when they enter the finals, because we know that they're not losing in the playoffs anyway. So they're trying to do what they can to be healthy come the postseason where it matters most. I don't like the fact that they do it, but I completely understand why they do it.
All right. With that being said, Mr. Mo Twister, your thoughts? Do you agree
I'm gonna
with
give.
Jake?
Well, my thoughts in a sense. I mean, I have thoughts. I wish I could say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So
you
I'm
can't,
only
though.
here to. I'm here to judge, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick our caller. I just think that ultimately he's right. The fans pay for it. Stan Van Gundy said it. I'm not gonna give points here. Stan Van Gundy said it though, that he get 80. You get paid to play 82 games. Our caller said the same words. Stan said this first week of the NBA season when Tony Parker was arrested on game number 2 of the year. So I'm going to lean with our caller on this one. I think it's wrong. And, they should fine. Just as
there
they
you
did
go.
last time.
I agree with both. I think that that they will rest no matter what. No matter what they do, they're just going to hide it under different injury names. I do think that it is bad for the league, though, especially after Adam Silver says, if you're going to rest, at least do it at home, guys, not when you're in Memphis. Let's give
And
do
don't
something
rest
for
your
the
and
fans.
don't rest
All
all of your
three of them at the
stars.
same time. You know what I mean?
Not at this-
All right, so I guess that
I mean,
means-
again, if you want to bring up a couple of points, though, right?
Uh-huh.
And you said it, don't do it on the road, which is a great point, especially to a non-conference
Yes.
team, which you see them once a year. There are people that pay more money for those tickets than say if the Cavaliers were playing Brooklyn or something else, right? So I think it's a very good point. If you're going to rest, if you have to do it at home. If you don't do it at home, you're going to get fined $250,000, because if they're going to find Popovich, they should be able to find that.
there you go.
You know what else? Wait, last thing, guys. Last thing. But if I was the NBA, I would at least. I think if you're gonna rest a player, I would at least make them travel with the team. Don't let them just stay at home and not travel.
Well, that
with
means
the
nothing
team
though
with
to the
it.
fans, because the
Yeah.
fans is the number one argument here. Who
That
cares
is
if they're
actually gonna
sitting on a
piss me
suit
off
or
even
something?
more.
It's really about the fans. And guys, I mean, I know
No,
there's
but
new,
you can
there are
hide it.
studies.
You can hide it more.
Yeah, but it's not
That's what
about
I'm saying.
hiding. It's
Yeah.
can the fans see the team that they paid big money to play to watch play? I mean, I know the scientific reasons are there, right? Entering last year's playoffs, how many players got injured last year? It was like historically large amount. 6 former All-Stars got sidelined. In fact, in the past 16 years, the number one seed in each conference, they've only played each other twice in the finals because so much of it has to do with injuries. But if you take it to the time we grew up, Jordan played 82 games
Yes.
in 3 straight years. Do you know that? You know
Yeah.
how many titles he won in those 3 years that he played
Yep.
82 games? How many titles?
3
3
of them.
He won a goddamn championship in every freaking game. Every season, he played 82 games. He played 82 games in 91. Did they win a championship? Yes. He played 80 games in 92. Did they win a title? Yes. So 5
But,
rings for Michael in seasons he played 80 or more games. Karl
All right.
Malone, his entire career with the Jazz, 18 years. Do you know how many games he missed? 10 freaking
And
games
how many
in a
titles has he
physically
won?
pounding.
How many
Well, no,
titles
it's
has he
not.
won?
It's not about. It's not about the goal. I just gave you the Jordan
Yes,
stats.
exactly.
All I'm saying
Okay.
is,
All right,
Carmelo
okay.
averaged 38 minutes per game, playing a physically demanding position in a physically brutal
era.
era of the league.
Yeah.
He missed 10 games in 18 years.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
so you can go and say, oh, there's so many injuries right now, but you can also take it to a time where it was a lot more physical and there weren't that many injuries. I don't know if it's about resting minutes and all of that stuff. So fine.
You know, one last point I want to make.
There's a lot of point.
No. But if
I love how
if
Gino's not taking
somebody-
this loss at all.
if somebody like Larry Bird actually rested in some games and didn't play on second night of back-to-backs and certain nights when he was not feeling well, I think his career would have lasted longer.
Okay, my
That's all I'm saying.
rebuttal to that is that LeBron James and Larry Bird are built extremely freaking different. And there you go. Congratulations to Jake. You are taking home a Gilas Pilipinas shirt courtesy of the Ball Hogs. Thank you and congratulations, brother.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we move on over to our
By the way,
third
Jordan,
and
you know, in those 3 years when he played 82 games, he also went to the finals. Okay, so he played way more games. Never missed one.
Yeah.
Not a puss. Still won championships.
Let's move on to our third caller. And let's welcome in our third caller for our one-on-one. His name is Mark Imbong. Mark, welcome to Ball Hogs. What is your debate statement?
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm thinking about the issue or the concern over the NBA having these super teams such
Okay.
as Golden State for this season. And I understand that during the offseason when Durant made his move to go to Golden State, then everyone started hating on Golden State because they created this super team with 4 All-Stars on them. But as we've seen in their performance so far this season, what people expected to be a super team is not as super as what they've seen. They've struggled against.
What the hell
some
do you
teams.
expect? Like 82 and 0?
Yeah.
Right.
But let's see. Right now, based on my understanding, the reason why
So,
people did not.
Wait,
Yes, right
yeah.
now I'm in favor of super teams.
Okay.
The main
So
reason being,
let's leave it
No,
at
no,
there.
no, don't give us the reason. Just
Don't
give us the
reason.
statement.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're for super
you
teams.
are in favor of super teams.
yes.
Okay, Jinno Rufino.
Well, you know, I mean,
Yes or no? Favor or
for entertainment value and for balance in the league, I would prefer there not to be super team.
Okay.
Super teams. I would like to see. I would like to see, I guess, more balance in the league.
okay? So that's so you're not in favor.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong; they're fun to watch. I love watching the Warriors. When they're on, I'm gonna watch it. But
Okay.
I would just like to see more balance.
Okay.
Okay.
Mo.
I don't like super teams for the reason of, like, I cheer for underdogs. But in terms of should they be allowed to form a super team? Absolutely. So I'm for super teams in the context of this question.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I am against super teams. So with that being said, you get to choose between debating Gino or
Aaron or
myself.
Okay. Both of you guys. All right.
Okay, since I'm 4, then probably I'll probably choose between Gino or Aaron.
Yeah.
Right?
So who do you pick?
Okay, let's go with Aaron.
Oh, nice. This is my
Aaron,
first.
all right. So you're
All
going to
right.
debate
Ooh,
virginity.
Oh.
I can actually rest now. Okay.
Yeah, you can get out of your kitchen now, Gino. Thank you. Okay, your opening statements, brother.
Yes, okay. Of course, the reason why people, as I was about to say earlier, the reason why people don't like super teams is because primarily, I think because of the expectation that, they're just going to walk all over every team that they go up against. And not every team is built the way they are built. So, but personally, I think that if a weaker team, knows that they're going up against, let's say, a Golden State, they know that they really have to step it up. As what we've seen maybe with the Pelicans in the last game of Golden State, they really stepped up and they fought right till the end. Even though Golden State was, I think, leading by a big margin, they fought until the end. So I think having to play a super team forces weaker teams or non-super teams to be more competitive, which I think is more attractive for fans. That's my stand. So it's more competitive. Well, unless of course the team really decides at the first quarter, let's just give up. We don't have any all stars. But I think it's fair to think that given that this is a professional league, you expect players and teams to be competitive, whoever they play against. More so if it's a super team that, okay, guys, let's step up, let's do our best, and which gives fans a better show to watch.
Okay. I, on the other hand, have been cheering for a team that has not been a super team for a long, long time. I mean, I have been a person that has followed the Phoenix Suns practically my entire life. So I do know what it's like not to cheer for a super team. I think that super teams, for one, I do agree with that teams will go out there and bring the best that they can. But when you go out there and you are bringing a hobbled Dallas Mavericks team and you're going up against LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving, it's just not going to happen. It brings down a lot of the viewership, empty arenas as well. When you see them going up against, later teams later on in the season. But the one thing that I do think is that it takes away talent from the remainder of the league.
Yes.
I mean, you saw how Oklahoma City was last year with Kevin Durant, and then now it's moving again to a top-heavy Western Conference where it's only 2-3 teams that are competing. In the same way with the East, where it's only really just 1 or 2 teams if you really include Toronto with quote-unquote superstar DeMar DeRozan. But the rest of the league, it's just, I mean, we talked about it a while ago. The end goal is a championship. And if I'm looking at the Suns, I've seen 2 Suns games this year. I am a diehard Suns fan, but they are just not fun to watch, knowing that they are not going to win a championship. I know Jinno still watches the Lakers because of the fact that he is a complete diehard Laker fan, knowing that they're not going to win a championship. But they are fun to watch, but they're not going to win a championship. That's my plea. So, yeah.
Yep. Well, it's really, it's fun to watch. I never got to watch the Memphis Grizzlies Warriors game, but we saw them, practically walk over the Warriors.
Exactly.
No,
I mean, are you seriously gonna watch a Golden State versus Minnesota game, or a Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Philadelphia 76ers? Trust the process? No, trust my 3 hours. I need that to get through the remainder of my day and get shit done. I don't know. That's just the way I see it.
All right, let's vote. Let's put a vote to it.
Okay.
Who do you guys? I guess Jinno, we'll start with you. Who do you think won this one?
The thing is, somebody brought up the Thunder, and to me that was the biggest. It was almost like the joy of watching what would have been a Thunder Warriors matchup in the Western Conference Finals was taken away from basketball fans because KD moved to the Warriors, and to me that was my biggest thing. Right, I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that at least one more time. But having said that, I love watching the Warriors play. I'm still not a fan, but I love watching them play. I enjoy watching the Cavs play. I enjoy watching LeBron play. But
Do you love watching Charlotte? Do you love watching, Atlanta? No. Nobody gives a shit about these stupid teams.
No, okay, Aaron. You look at the history of the NBA, right? There's always been only maybe 5 teams that can win it, maybe 6 teams that can win it every single year. Yeah. That's just the way it's been throughout the history of the league. So
that's what I was trying to avoid.
Maybe there's 2. There's only 2 teams that can win it all this year. Maybe 3, maybe 4 if you're stretching it a little bit.
So pick who wins.
Mark.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going Mark as well, and I think you were generous, Jinno, by saying 6 teams. It's always only 3 teams every year.
That was the one
whoever's got
thing
the
that I
top
was trying
3
to
players. Yeah, whoever's got the top 3 players, those teams go to the finals. But I go with Mark here because I think Aaron's argument was so piss poor. Aaron, this is your first debate. It was so bad.
Yeah, I know. I didn't.
All you did was admit to everyone that you're a bandwagon fan.
Yeah,
you're like, oh man, well, my team sucks. I've only watched them twice this year.
I was.
I mean, that just shows you're a crappy fan,
I was
man.
trying.
Are you gonna watch Golden State versus Philadelphia? Hell yeah, I am. Because I am a fan of Philadelphia, or I'm a fan of Golden State. I mean, if your teams are doing bad, it doesn't mean you stop watching them, because that makes you a really crappy fan.
I was trying
so
to.
I think,
I still watch every single Suns game. I was just fucking.
for your argument, I absolutely think that Mark is the winner
Yeah.
here, and so I guess in this case, 2 winners have come from the
Nice.
callers and one from the host tonight.
Good
So
job.
Thanks,
Good job.
Mark.
Good job. Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking my topic.
Congratulations. We're
Anytime,
giving you
man. Call
some,
back anytime.
Gilas apparel
Yes.
for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks, brother.
That'll
Appreciate
wrap up
it.
one-on-one. We're going to cut to a break. When we return, we got your press box. Don't go anywhere.
All right, welcome back to the show. We have our press box segment now, and on the line, he is the radio voice for the Memphis Grizzlies. He also is a host of his own show, the Eric Hasseltine Show, on 92.9 ESPN FM, Monday to Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. We are lucky to have him. Please welcome Eric Hasseltine. Eric, thanks for being on the show, man.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
Eric, boy, I bet you get this question a million times. Well, how the hell are the Grizzlies pulling it off, man? After losing, the point guard, all-star caliber Mike Conley, biggest contract in the NBA. How do you guys pull this off? What's going on over there?
Well, if I told you, then I would have figured it out myself. So I really wish I knew. They're playing great defense is the first thing, guys. And the thing about it is, we just went through a 4-game stretch where they played Portland, Golden State, and a back-to-back with Cleveland. And the first night of the back-to-back with Cleveland, which was last night, they didn't bring Marc Gasol on the trip. They needed to get him some rest. They felt like that was going to be a tough game to win in Quicken Loans Arena in the home of the defending world champions. So they gave Mark the night off. But beating Portland and then beating Golden State the way they did gave them a shot of confidence. And tonight, Cleveland kind of did them a solid by not bringing LeBron James or Kevin Love or
pretty
Kyrie
controversial,
Irving to
actually.
the game. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's getting a little talk about it, and I know some radio hosts out here have talked about it. I talked about it on my show today, but that's the nature of the NBA we live in now. And the thing about the Grizzlies winning those games, they did beat some sub 500 teams in that mix. They beat the Lakers, they beat the Magic, they beat Philadelphia, and they beat the Pelicans, but they really did it by playing really solid defense. And Marc Gasol has elevated his play to a whole nother level once again. He got Player of the Week for a good reason, because he was sensational last week. And we were actually a little worried that James Harden might take it from him, because Harden had a heck of a week too. And the Rockets rolled again tonight. But watching this team defend has been what it's been all about. And you look at their rankings, they're at the bottom of the league in a lot of offensive categories, but you look at their defensive rankings, and they're 3rd in points per game allowed. They're 2nd in defensive field goal percentage. They're 7th in defensive 3-point field goal percentage. And per 100 possessions is where everybody goes now for efficiency. They're the number one defensive team. And when they went into that game with Golden State, David Fizdale said, hey, look, we're not going in here just to take a shellacking and say, hey, thanks for coming in and selling some tickets for us, Golden State. We're going in number one offense versus number one defense, and we're going to see who blinks first. And it was the Warriors that blinked first. And there was some offense taken, because some of the national pundits were like, oh, well, the Warriors had a patchwork team too. And I said, patchwork team, do you mean a bench guy in Andre Iguodala, who's very good, and a center who just kind of fills in the middle there for you for Zaza Pachulia, who's also a good player, but you still have your 4 all-NBA team, players out there playing in the game, and a Grizzlies team that lost their starting point guard, their starting 2-guard, their starting 3-man, and are holding it together. There's a whole different level of patchwork there. So they felt a little slighted by that. And despite the fact they lost last night in Cleveland, they came back tonight, and they were not going to let that happen on their home floor. They've got a toughness and a mentality about them that's really impressive. They win games that are close. They're 12-0 in what they call super clutch situations this year, where they're either within, the game's within 3 points or goes to overtimes. They won all 12 games they've been in. And David Fizdale's done a remarkable job, and the players have responded, and they deserve all the credit.
That's the stat that that's the stat that really is glaring to me is the ability to win the close games, because usually with a patchwork team, that's when they start falling apart, right? When you don't have the experience of success and all that. Where's the clutch coming from? Is it still the defense? Because as you said, yeah, they're offensively, they're where they are every year. Kind of not a very high scoring team, but a lockdown defensive team. That's the calling card. That's the grit city, grind city, whatever you want to call the Grizzlies, as they have been these past few years. How do you do it, though, without your best players? Is it something that you even have a change in coach, right, from past years? What is it about Memphis wherein it continues, that tradition continues, that mindset continues? You lose your number one squad. Here's the new. Here comes some guys you pick off from say free agent or D League or whatever. Still be able to play that lockdown defense when it matters in the clutch, 3 minutes or less.
The best defensive player over the years has been Tony Allen. He prides himself on his defense. He was very upset that last year he didn't make the all-defensive teams, and he wants to be on the first-team All-NBA defensive team every year. That's where he has made his mark in this league. So he's still a part of it. He's elevated his game. Marc Gasol has elevated his game as well. JaMychal Green, who many people may not know that name, but he is a very good perimeter defender and really – he's gonna get a lot of money in the offseason, and some people are gonna go, why would you pay JaMychal Green that? Whoever gets him, whether he stays here or goes somewhere else, they're getting a good player. The thing about it is, that's just always been the nature here. I've been here now. This is my 16th season. I've been here since they moved here. They've always been overlooked. They've always been slighted, and this city has always felt that way about everything. They never had professional sports till the Grizzlies got here. They always wanted an NFL team. They always got passed over. And this team has taken the identity of the city, just tough, hard-nosed. You're going to come in, you're going to get a fight. And if you get in a fight with this team, you're not going to out-tough them very often. They got a tough group of guys. Now, here's the thing that's a little different, that you're right, the numbers, points per game-wise and all that, that's all similar, except for one thing. Tonight, the Grizzlies just had their 9th game in their first 27, and it may not sound like a lot, but the 9th game in the first 27 where they've hit 10 or more threes. Factor this in, guys. In the last 4 years before this, they had 18 of those games. So in 27 games, they have half the total that they had in 27 games this year. They have half the total that they had in 4 years, 328. That tells you a little something how different the offense is working. And when you can make threes, even if you're not scoring a ton, you're still defending the same. It does balance out, because now you have the ability to extend leads or cut into leads. And that's what they've done in this, streak where they won 6 straight. They lost. Now they've won 7 of 8. They've done it by hitting threes at clutch moments. Marc Gasol hits a 3 to tie the game.
That's right.
in New Orleans, and then gets a rebound and finds Troy Daniels to send the game to double overtime to tie the game. In years past, that doesn't happen. It just doesn't. Marc Gasol had 12 three-point shots made the entire length of his career. I think he hit 3 more tonight, which gives him 41 this season. So 12 in an entire career, 41 this season. It's a little different. So it's not a high scoring, going to beat you by racing it up and down the floor offense. But if you leave them open, they've got guys that can make you pay. Troy Daniels, here's a great thing. Since the last time we talked about Troy Daniels, right? Troy Daniels came in 7 games he played. He had a total of 13 points his first 7 games. He went on a 4-game stretch after that, went 19, 19, 31, and 29. And you just went, wait a minute. You just scored 98 points, 98 points in 4 games after scoring 13 and 7. And all of a sudden, a guy that hit it 3 out of 21 from 3 went 13 of 25 and just caught fire. And that addition when Conley went down and that spark to the lineup really helped. They picked up Tony Douglas off the waiver wire because of the injuries. He was terrific tonight. So they have pushed all of the right buttons. Now, we're still a long way to go. We got 65 games left, but the way they've played, and you feel like, okay, if they've played this well in these kind of circumstances, when you get Chandler Parsons back and he's close, and when you get a guy like James Ennis, who, again, people may not have heard of, but really good defensively on the perimeter, pretty solid shooter. When you get him back, when you get Mike Conley back, and they're talking about sooner rather than later for Conley, which is a surprise for everybody, but he's a tough guy, and that's why he wants to come back. You're talking about a team that's winning 2 out of every 3 games with a ragtag lineup in a lot of people's eyes. What are you going to do when you get that group back? It may take a couple games to get accustomed to being out there with one another, but now you've also got some of those young guys that were counted on to eat up some of the backup minutes. You've got them some valuable experience, and that pays dividends in playoff runs.
Right. No, definitely. Jinno.
Actually,
All right, I think we're having a little bit of a problem with Gino's connection. The one thing that I wanted to ask was, I mean, the start of the season, everyone was saying Memphis was going to play Chandler Parsons like LeBron James. I don't understand exactly where that's supposed to go, but maybe you can fill us in on how that role is supposed to be filled in.
Well, no, that's a fair question because I don't think a lot of people understood where that was supposed to go because you don't just play like LeBron James. There's a reason he's the best player in the world. But what they meant by that is when you watch the Cavaliers, you know you have Kyrie Irving, but you know how good Kyrie Irving is. Not only ball handling, and he's one of the best ball handlers in the league, but Kyrie Irving can spot up and kill you from the perimeter. So what do you have? You have a 6'8" 3-man that is a 6'8" 3-man that can play the 4, can play the 2, can play the 1, can even play the 5. And he's good with the ball in his hands. So LeBron James gets the ball in his hands and now becomes the point forward. Chandler Parsons' numbers efficiently in the last handful of seasons, both with Houston and Dallas, in the pick and roll setting, when they ran him as the instigator of the pick and roll, were off the charts. People didn't even realize it. And I'm not a big analytics guy. I don't go diving into these numbers. I mean, listen, my job as a radio announcer is see game, call game, tell people what happens. But I've been around this league long enough to also believe it has a lot of merit to follow some of that stuff. But you got to see the eye test. And the eye test that I've seen for Chandler Parsons 4 games a year the past however many years is that he's a lot better with the ball in his hands than people think. And I saw that firsthand before he got this bone bruise and the opposite knee he had surgery on. When he came back, the game he played in Dallas, and that was a special game for him because it did not end well with the Mavericks, and through no fault of his own, he got hurt. But the way he moves without the ball, the way he sees the floor when he has the ball in his hands, he's a much better player than I realized he was with the ball in his hands. I mean, listen, his true value is shooting, and we know that. When you can be a spot-up shooter on the perimeter and you got a guy like Gasol who can pass out of double teams or Conley who can break down defenses, it's going to benefit Chandler Parsons. But when Parsons can bring that to the table where he can move without the ball or have the ball in his hands and find the open spots, it's a huge benefit. And I didn't realize how good he was in those situations. And now that I've seen it, I'm going like, hey, this was a good signing. As long as he can get it healthy and get out on the court, it's a really good signing. And in talking to Chandler, he's as upset about this injury as anybody else because it's not even to the knee that he had surgery on. It's to the opposite one where he just happened to get some knee-to-knee contact. And anybody that's ever played sports, you go knee-to-knee with someone hard enough, you're going to be down for a little bit. It hurts, and it doesn't feel good, and it's a tough break. But we are very anxious to get him back and very anxious to get James back and very anxious to get Mike back. We're waiting on Brandon Wright to see if he can come back anytime soon or not. But if you get that complement of players, there's a lot of people that slept on this team in the offseason, and I think they're proving to people it's not a team you want to sleep on. You do that, and you don't take them for the team that they've become with a 6-year playoff run, you're going to come in and find yourself on the wrong end of the scoreboard real quick.
Gino? I agree. Hey, Eric, we got one last question here. Running out of time, but Gino, go ahead, throw it up.
Yeah, there was a lot of chatter now that Coach Fizz, his name is being thrown around as being a favorite for the Coach of the Year award. I just want to know, as a coach who was an assistant coach to Coach Spo for a very long time, what has he done with his players in order to integrate himself into the culture of the Memphis Grizzlies? Because it seems like it's been flawless so far. The way it's seamless, the way he's been coming from an assistant coach in Miami to being a head coach with the grit and grind guys, that he's been able to I guess thrive despite all the injuries in the team.
Yeah, first thing, when LeBron left, Miami played a very similar style to what Memphis did, and David Fizdale had a lot to do with that. So he handpicked this job, and when he handpicked it, he then took the time this summer to go visit all of his players, talk to them, something Steve Kerr did, something Eric Spoelstra believed in, and he went and talked to them. But what he also did from day one is held every one of them accountable. He went in and said, listen, I'm new, and you've had the same system here for a decade, and some of you guys have been here long enough to have had maybe a little preferential treatment. That stops today. There is no more of that. If you mess up, the horn's sounded and you're coming out, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you're not going to give me the effort I demand of you, the horn's sounded and you're coming out, and I don't care who it is. And to sit down Zach Randolph, who is really one of the iconic figures of this franchise, and say, at this point in your career, I need you coming off the bench. No one else is going to have you in the starting lineup probably anywhere else in the league that's going to win like we plan on winning. And he, like I said the other night, not only having that conversation with Zach, but he came out the day of that game against Golden State, and it was a weird situation here. There's times with the college team you have double headers. So the college team plays in the day, the Grizzlies play at night. And we had that Saturday. And so we kind of had to get into this hallway and get away from the college basketball fans. And he was all business. He said, listen, if anybody thinks here that we're coming out just to be lambs to the slaughter to the Warriors, don't ask a question, because we're coming out, and we are not coming out just to lay down. We are coming out to play. We believe in our defense. We believe we're a championship caliber team. And anybody that doesn't believe that on my team is not going to play. So he's been terrific. It's a long way to go, but his name is now certainly in the mix of that Coach of the Year mix. I think you have to put Mike D'Antoni's name in that mix as well. I think if the Lakers, stay around 500, you have to keep Luke Walton in that mix. But there's no doubt about it that he has earned a lot of respect from his team, the way he has handled situations. He called him out last night. I mean, I do a pregame interview with him every day, and the first thing he said is, I said, what did you see from the guys last night? And he said they were soft. They came out soft. They fought, and I got into them, and they fought, but they were soft. And when they've played soft, he has not been afraid to call them out on it. I said, how did you correct it? He said, the film never lies. Same thing they did in Utah when they really turned things around. They lost that game in Milwaukee early. They went to 4-5 on the season. They flew to Utah the day after the game, went right to practice. And that day at practice, they had a 3-hour practice on a Sunday after playing the night before, and it was a lot of film. And he lit into them, like a father of a teenage kid that stole the car and went out on a joyride the night before. And like the veterans were like, we hadn't been talked to like that in a long time. And they said it was refreshing. And you know what? They responded. They came out the next night against a good Utah team and really thumped on them and took their frustrations out on them. So that's the big thing. Accountability. He's terrific. I've enjoyed getting to know him. I'm going to enjoy getting to know him over the years as well, because the one thing I do know, just in the short time I've been around him, he has got a brilliant basketball mind.
Oh, yeah,
Eric,
absolutely. Thank you very much.
We got to thank you for taking some time here talking Grizzlies. I'm sure you're having a great, or at least having a lot of enjoyment watching them succeed, considering everything that's going on over there. And I, wish you the best. Of course, your show on 92.9 ESPN Monday to Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. And you do the call for the Grizzlies on the radio. So thanks for being here, bud, and enjoy the rest of the season.
Yeah, you guys too. Anything you need from us, let me know. Certainly appreciate it. Happy holidays to everybody in the Philippines, and certainly appreciate you guys caring enough to have us on. So thanks for having me.
Later, Eric.
Thank you, sir. Happy holidays as
See you
well.
guys.
All right, Eric, there you go. And that's the press box. Aaron, why don't we wrap it up? We're running out of time here, so let's.
We're out of
What do you
here.
got?
So another fantastic show in the books for Mo Twister in Las Vegas. For Jinno Rufino in Los Angeles, who will be back inside the Digital 5 studios where I am. My name is Aaron Atayde for the whole team. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.